And we're live. Saphira, you want to turn on your camera? Well, my name is Ian and I'm the host, and welcome to Hucolo's weekly webinar. Today is Saturday, February 22nd, 2020. We welcome everyone, and today we're going to be listening to Sephira. We're going to have a little bit of a talk, and she's going to be doing channeling for us today. Sephira, do you want to introduce yourself? Looks like we're having some technical difficulties, which is nothing new.
Unmute yourself, Saphira.
Saphira, you're muted.
On my phone. Okay, there you go. Hello, everybody. Sorry, I was on my laptop and now I'm on my phone. And of course, the phone Zoom is different from the laptop Zoom as far as me figuring out everything and the angle and all of that of my video. So forgive me for that. But I'm on my phone now. So, hi.
Okay, the picture looks good.
Thank you. If I move it down like that, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because otherwise I have to hold it the whole time.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good, just like that.
Okay, great. All right, so let's start over. Hi, everybody.
Very good.
Thank you. On Facebook, I'm Ruth Tuminello. That's I was born, Tuminello is my married name. I was born Rory. I've been using Ruth for many years because of my connection with the Bible and the story of Ruth. But in 2008, I got the name Saphira from the Lyran Book of Names, and it means channel of God or vessel of God. So that's a big challenge to live up to, because the hardest thing is to move my concept of my own identity and self-consciousness aside and let myself just be a pure vessel. But anyway, that's the goal. So I have been channeling off and on through Human Colony here since 2014. And I had my first experience with channeling in that sense in a more powerful way was when I was about 18 years old, and I was in a Christian movement, and we had an all-night prayer meeting, and then there's a gifts of the spirit, and one of them is speaking in tongues, and so I didn't speak in tongues, I interpreted the tongues, and that is one of the gifts of the spirit. So that was my first experience, but then I moved away from that, and I lived in Germany for 20 years, had children. I've been a missionary for 35 years in a few different paths of serving God in whatever way. The second one was dealing with interreligious dialogue in order to create world peace. So if we can find out what we all have in common, then we can stop being disunified and having all these little petty differences over things that we may not have in common. So that was a lot of my work for the last 30 years and partly in Germany. So then I met Human Colony and I got introduced to working more with extraterrestrials and angels and things of this nature. So yes, that's a little bit of background about that.
And whenever you channel, you never know who's going to come through beforehand. Is that correct?
Not always. Sometimes I make a list of all the people that I have channeled so far, and there's a list for today of the different beings that I could recall that I have channeled. Sometimes I forget because I channel them and then I don't channel again for a while and then I forget. But Yes, and then I will usually ask beforehand. Like today, I did ask beforehand who of all of these beings would like to come, and I kind of have a order of who would like to come, but that could change. Um, it sounds a little bit like being too much in control of it, but it's also kind of nice to know in a way to connect with them beforehand a little bit about who they are. And I've always thought if a group, when we, like when normally when Jim Charles channels and he asks everybody who they would like to bring in and people make different suggestions. And, I can't channel like that where I can just channel anybody who's asked. But sometimes if we know ahead of time who's coming, uh, it's easier to ask questions because sometimes people have a hard time asking questions because it's somebody they don't haven't heard from very often or maybe for the first time. Things like that.
And are there certain types of questions that you can or can't answer or don't, like, personal questions about health or things like that? Because I know some people, everyone's different with their channeling and their ability to answer questions with the information that they receive.
Yes, that is a great question, Ian. Thank you. So I was listening to answer that. I was listening to Bishar the other day. If for those who don't know, if you look up Bashar on YouTube, you will see many videos of Daryl Anka channeling and a being from the Sasani race. And so Bashar said just recently, he said he comes through. Daryl receives his energy no more than 15%. Or let me say that better. Daryl receives no more than 15% tops of his energy. That means that the energy of these beings is so powerful that we wouldn't, like people talk about ascension symptoms where they feel nauseous or dizzy. This is what it is walking into a vibration that's much higher than our own. We just it's like those movies where you see this invisible shield around a ship or around somebody. It's like hitting those shields. You just can't get through. So they do tamper the amount of energy that's coming through. Now, as far as the information, I sometimes a lot of my channeling, let me put it this way, is focused on healing and personal emotional issues that people are going through or relationship issues. And it's not so much that I can name 5 planets in the certain galaxy or things like that. I don't normally get that kind of information. And I'm also a conscious channeler. A conscious channeler is conscious of what they're saying. Uh, I try not to be too conscious of what I'm saying because I don't want to add to it or interpret it or um, edit it as it's coming through because maybe I'm thinking, oh gosh, um, really maybe that shouldn't be said. Or like one time I channeled Chakur, who is another being that we channel here in Human Colony for those who don't know her. And she was asked about vaccines, and I remember she started to say, oh boy, I'm going to get in trouble with this one. So, and it's the same thing also that a lot of beings don't want to tell people certain things because it's not going to, it's kind of like parents who solve all the problems of their children. It's a kind of overprotectiveness that goes on with that, but it also doesn't help the children grow and to be self-responsible. And I never really liked that answer when I used to ask myself, well, can you tell me this and tell me that? And, something about, am I doing the right thing? Or what is my strongest point for my spiritual work or whatever? And they would just say, yes, you will find out. And I'm like, okay, you don't want to tell me, or, I mean, why don't you want to tell me? Or you don't know, or yes, I would start to doubt. But then I realized it's not that. It's like the philosophical question: if you're in a forest and the tree falls, will you hear it if you're not there? So they don't really want to tell us something that would change the trajectory by our thinking, by our focus on a certain direction. Like, there's two paths. And what they're saying, energy flows where focus goes. So if you're focusing on one path and they say, well, actually, that's not the right path, you should focus on the other one, and then your focus changes there. But there was a whole lot of restoration and lessons in that first path that you kind of you made an agreement with yourself that you needed to go, and now it just the other path looks more attractive because somebody with a higher title or from another realm told you that. So they really can't do that for us, unfortunately. And when my children were young, um my husband, my former husband, is from Sicily. I don't know if you know Sicilian people, but they like they just want to control everything their children are doing and when they're doing it and how. And it's meant in a really good way, but it really just leaves the child feeling very good on one side because they have so much attention and people do care. On the other side, when it comes to making their own decisions in life, it gets really hard. So sometimes I'm still asked by my children, well, about decision making, or they have a hard time making decisions. So these are mistakes that parents make, and these are not mistakes that our extraterrestrial or angelic friends make. Putting it that way. Yes, I hope that answer wasn't too long-winded, Ian. But there you go.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Um, so
So
you've talked about your human colony experience. You've been doing some channeling for the human colony for the last couple of years, and the number and the beings that have come through. What else can you tell us about your channeling process? Did you have to prepare before this call?
I do. I ground myself and I connect. I connect vertically and horizontally, and try to collect that energy from above and also below into my being, into my heart area. And then I pray that I can let go of my own thinking and my own interference in it or my own ego. Um, I can feel their energy so strongly, especially before I channel. But of course, as soon as an audience is there, as soon as the camera goes live, then there is a nervousness that a lot of people experience and that I experience. So I it's hard then to keep all those good intentions, about not being involved at all in the process in this case. But my intention is that whoever comes through, and their intention also is to be edifying for everyone. There's a lot of information out there, so they don't always want to just pile information upon information and add to the never-ending list that everybody has and the never-ending people that offer it. But just to be also to feel into the energy, feel into the love, feel into the joy, just to more feel it than think it, because this is how we also raise our vibration is feeling them, feeling a connection with a higher being, our higher selves, God, however you want to put it. So I do have to say one thing here is that I don't know if can you hear that noise?
The dogs?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
It's
I live with 9 people. I have a room, but the landlords just came back, and when they come back, their dogs make a lot of noise, and they make a lot of noise. So I hope I can tune it all out while I'm also attempting to channel. I do have a note on my door which says "Do not disturb." Sometimes they knock on my door anyway, so forgive me. It's not the ideal situation, but as far as preparing, yeah, I think about it like a whole week before, and I try and think about um, my vibration, my heart, my desire. It goes up and down, and I try to keep it on a higher level, especially the day before. So in other words, I'm very conscious that this moment is coming, and I do my best to prepare for it in several ways. I also I have different stones in front of me. This is a different hieroglyphics, which which granted are probably carved from an artist, but nonetheless, I was told by somebody who feels energy that this holds a lot of information in it. So I have this here, and this is an organite. For those of you who don't know organite, it has copper in it and a varied amount of stones, and it grounds EMF energy coming from laptops or telephones or whatever. But it also has the infinity. It also has the reverse spiral sign, the galactic reverse spiral sign. And I will connect, to this one. And here is a no, there's a special name for it. I forgot it right now as I'm picking it up. It's a crystal, but it's a special kind of crystal which has information. So I will use crystals. I will pendle them into my being. Like I'll use a pendle and it'll go around until it stops, and I'm asking it to come into my being. Actually, so healing that I do when I do private sessions, I will also use several codes. I want to show you. Because I also do energy healing. Do you see this? Can you all see that one?
Yes, I've seen that before.
Yes, and I must have shown it to you because I'm the only one that I know that has it
Yeah.
here. And
You
then
and I
there's
have a long history, so I mean, of talking and
yes,
sharing things.
yes, and I'm so glad you remember. That's really sweet. So these codes were a revelation to a woman from Slovakia, and she created many, many of them, and they have different purposes. So what I will do is I will make a little figure of somebody. My mother's an artist, but I did not pick up her artistic ability as far as drawing goes. My mother did a lot of paintings. But anyway, nonetheless, I have a little figure there and there's a name. In this case, it was my name because I was clearing myself before the webinar today. And then I will put these pictures on top of it, and I will, for whoever I'm sending energy to, and I will pendle and pendle and pendle until the pendle stops. If that person does not need this particular code, it will just won't go. So it's not as if I'm just sending random energy to everybody and anybody. It goes where it needs to go and to whom it needs to go. Now I got these codes back in 1996, I think, 95, a long time ago. And I don't know what they all mean, and I just sort of trust that they're going to do whatever job they need to do. So that's part of what I do, and part of what I do for myself before doing such a webinar. Um, but also, if I'm channeling for anybody individually, I also do that as well to clear myself. And the thing about channeling is that everybody channels in one way or another. People say, "Oh, I do automatic writing and I do healing, but I don't channel." And I'm like, "Well, you do channel. You're just not sitting here and trying to speak on behalf publicly on behalf of somebody else." Um, but we do that in our conversations anyway. If a friend of ours is needing us to listen to something, and we sit and we listen and we listen, and then we get some intuitive information about them and we share that, even just comforting and listening and giving, just being there, that's all channeling. So channeling is a little bit overrated. This type of channeling is a little bit overrated, and there's always a margin for it's not 100% true. So, and that's okay, because depending on what level the being you're channeling is, they're not all on the same level. So the beings who come through, they're giving you information according to the level that they understand and they're at. Even when you're a medium and you're channeling somebody from a certain part of the spiritual realm that they're in, they can only share with you their experience from their realm. So it's not as if everybody who isn't in a physical body has tons of information and everybody knows the same thing. It's just so not true. So so that's why it's kind of interesting to have different channelers, because everybody brings through a different flavor. I may not be able to tell you who the names of your hybrid children, maybe not, maybe not. As time goes on, I might be able to, but there's other aspects that I bring through. Um, Deb and Rick bring through a whole nother aspect. They were here last week. Telos from Karen brings through also a more advisory, wisdom advisory kind of a spirit. So yeah.
Well, that also depends on the being that you're channeling. They all have their own perspectives, and also they also have their own agendas.
Yes. Like getting us to volunteer our DNA. Yes.
Yes, or whatever. They have their own galactic agenda with Earth, and so the information will vary. But it seems like whenever higher level beings, fifth dimension and above, are channeled, the information seems to be consistent.
Yeah, to some degree, yes. But I've also heard high beings with consistent to some degree. I agree. Now, the thing is, what I heard is that the Pleiadians have a karmic situation with Earth, and they cannot ascend until we do. So their interest in our ascending to the next level is directly correlated to their own ascension. So they are very invested in helping us. And as they have said before, like a lot of the healing modalities that we have on Earth, a lot of the technology that people develop, like these kind of coils to ward off radiation or negative energy, or there are what are called tachyon healing chambers on the earth right now in different places in the United States and maybe in Europe, where you can actually go and sit under a healing crystal that is very precisely set up according to their directions. It's connected on top in the middle, and there are it's a copper pyramid that reaches out from that point around. And there's all kinds of ways and technologies and quantum healing, quantum touch, emotion code, which I also do, like I talked about last time I was channeling on here. Did an hour on the emotion code and what that is. So this is the way they've been for, very long time, helping us by giving us tools for our own healing. But I realize also it's important to pray, and and I don't mean that as a religious concept of prayer, but it's a type of talking to, even talking out loud to a higher, like maybe Jesus, who, again, I don't mean that in a religious sense at all, but he is a being and he is amazingly powerful and loving and able to cut a lot of darkness away from around us. So it's important to connect also to God and a higher self. And yeah, because this is where the vertical food is coming from. This is where our spiritual food is coming from. And then service to others is another way to get our spiritual food. So it's got to be, the vertical, and then connecting to our heart, and then moving out horizontally around us to a spirit of service. And yeah, this is all the spiritual, we need spiritual food. And
Well, I think the praying is very important. I mean, whether it's to source or to angels or to whomever, because it helps protect you if you're going to channel or do other work. You need that prayer for a lot of different. It's a tool.
Yes, yes. And praying for others is like, because the angels often say that they can't come uninvited. They just can't come uninvited. You have to ask them. And when someone is in an emotional position where they cannot ask for themselves, then this is where praying for others comes in, because you're sort of asking on their behalf to intercede. And so this is also a very nice thing to do for others as well. Because we all have a lot of tools at our disposal for healing modalities, raising our vibration. But when we hit a dark night of the soul, it's so hard to reach out for that tool. And this is where others can come in and help intercede for us. And there are a lot of people whose mission it is simply to do intercessory prayer on behalf of others. And so, yeah, the thing is that a lot of people don't want to share their hardships with others. They feel like it's a burden, or they feel ashamed, or oh, well, I'm really not supposed to be going through this struggle because I have all these tools, and so I can't really tell anybody. And this is a great misfortune. And how a lot of us get attacked is because we have this concept that we can't let anybody know what we're really going through. So that's another aspect of it as well, and what community is supposed to mean. But I notice that within a lot of metaphysical communities, members become afraid to share with each other because there's not enough education about how to really help each other without using dogmatic platitudes to hand them. And yeah, so it gets complicated. But anyway, interceding for others as far as listening, being there, but you can't intercede unless somebody opens up and shares about what they're going through. So yeah, there's a willingness to be there for that as well. Yes.
I just was looking at YouTube and it's asked if you could please share more information about the lady that you got the code paper from.
Oh boy, I don't know where she is anymore because I can try. Let's see this, and she when she came to visit us in Germany, because I was in a religious spiritual community there, and this is how I met her. Somebody who knew her brought her into Germany, so she always had an interpreter with her. So let me see if I can. They have numbers on them. I'm trying to see because I brought a lot of codes with me. I lived in Germany for 20 years, and I brought a lot of codes with me from her, but I haven't really tried to look up her website in a while. But if you can see that it says um, B Tera, B Terra, and maybe you can try looking that up on may not show up in America. She was from Slovakia. That's as much as I can tell you, but I know that these are very powerful symbols. And yes, I use them in trust. And when I have worked with people who are very energetically sensitive, they can feel these energies. Definitely. One will cut off the negative, one will add the positive, one will reconstruct the auric field around somebody. One will help with the polarities to balance the polarities in people, in someone, things like that. I don't know if that's really been helpful, but that's as much as I can say about it. But I do use them in my individual healings that I do, among other things.
Okay, great. Do you happen to know her website?
I don't. I just have this card which says B Terra on it. Can you see that?
Yeah, we can see.
That's all I've got. So I haven't seen her. I left Germany in 2008. Last time I saw her before that, I think, was 2000. So we're talking 20 years since I've seen her. But I think about her. I'm grateful for her because she said she got these codes pretty much they would just appear to her, and then she would draw them and emboss them on these plastic cards. And I have a lot of other codes from her as well. So I brought them with me from Germany because I went to different workshops that she had, and she gave us those codes.
Okay. Well, do you feel like you want to start maybe getting into the mood to channel?
Oh yeah, I'm good. Thank you. I appreciate your questions because they're very helpful, because a lot of people who might be watching for the first time. This might all be new to them. It might not be. They might be novices at it, but just to know, just to sort of enjoy the time without trying to be too critical. If you're using your discernment, you don't have to worry too much about um, being too critical about the person channeling, because most people that I know who do channeling, their intentions are very good and their energy is very good, and the beings who come through are also good. So, with that in mind, I will prepare myself for another moment since I've been talking. Okay, thank you, Ian.
Okay, we'll
Enjoy.
wait for you. Just go ahead and
Yes,
take your time.
yes, and then enjoy your time together also. Well, hello, and I will tell you that this is Mother Mary.
Welcome, Mother Mary. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you, and you may have been expecting an extraterrestrial, but I am also extraterrestrial because I am not on your earth. And I want to talk to you today. Just a moment, please. There is some disturbances in the environment of the person I am channeling through. So sometimes I will need to, or she will need to, connect more deeply. So please have forbearance with us.
No problem.
At the moment, there is rap music playing, and perhaps we can, instead of resisting that energy, sort of flow with it. Yes. Now, I am quite normal. And what I mean by this is when I say Mother Mary, you may expect this very, that I speak only in the most holiest of terms or in the most what you would expect to be religious of terms. And I was a human being before I left this earth. And though I gave birth to Jesus, I went through a lot of trials in his lifetime and a lot of trials after he was no longer on this earth and I continued to live. And it was very difficult. But I also continued as a human and speaking just the way I do in relating to other humans around me. And when I went to the spiritual realm, I was not easy as well because there were many mistakes that I made that I had to go through after I left, is one thing. And the other is that at some point I was so revered that it was painful because the reverence went way, way beyond who I even was. To call me the mother of God is a very high, high title. And though I have learned much, and my heart does bear the great compassion for for all of you here on the earth, and though I do work tirelessly to respond to the supplications that I receive, I am still me as I was on earth. Can you understand this?
Yes, certainly.
Very well. Because I came through once before through this channel, and the person that was listening said, "Oh, you seem so normal and so humble. I didn't expect it." And therefore, I begin my talking with this preparation for you as to who and how I speak.
Okay. What did you have an opening statement that you would like to talk to us about, like ascension or anything?
I would like to speak about the importance of understanding the realms beyond your own. Now, on one side, it is important to focus on your realm and being of service within the realm that you are in. But like going on any excursion or long term vacation to a country you have never been to, you do want to gather some information about what it's going to be like to be there and what kind of clothing you need and what kind of money you might need to exchange and what kind of vaccinations you may need to get before you go and things of this nature. Therefore, it is one reason so many channelers try to help you to understand the importance of preparing for ascension because, like living and dying, ascension is very much a natural process. It is only a matter of when each individual reaches it. There is a group type of ascension or a planetary type of ascension, and those whose vibration already rhyme with that vibration will be able to feel it and experience it, even though they may still be living on this physical earth. And there are those whose consciousness is not quite so far, and they will continue to live as they live. And but God has each one in his and her. I like to speak to them as both male and female because are we not basically, though there are other aspects to this, male and female. So I like to say them, but I know that you are used to hearing God as he because it is the comfort and the encouragement and the safety of a father figure that most humans can relate to better, even though you still need nourishment and the comfort and the unconditional acceptance of the mother figure as well. Nonetheless, God has all of you. I will say God to encompass both genders. God has each and every one deep within their heart. It is the goal of each one. It is God's goal of each one to bring all of you to the point of your highest state of spiritual perfection, so to speak. This means oneness with Him and her, oneness with them. Now, what does that oneness mean? What does it mean? Can you imagine the, just a moment. Imagine putting yourself in God's position and seeing the corruption on the earth, seeing the misuse of power, seeing individuals who you love so deeply as your children hurting themselves, either cutting themselves or addicting themselves or allowing themselves to be beaten. You see these children misusing themselves in all sorts of ways because they have not experienced his love and her love to such a deep extent that they understand intrinsically who they are, both internally and externally. Imagine being in that position. Imagine seeing the knowing that children are being stolen and used in a sexual way. Imagine yourself being still able to love and accept unconditionally all of these conditions and still working to reach inside the heart of each one who may be hurting themselves or hurting others, to bring your love, to bring your deep love, which will transform their heart and their life. This is what God does for your people on earth. This is what Jesus does. This is also what I do, is to reach into your hearts. We wait for that little opening. We wait for that call, and then we rush in as much as we can to try and widen that space. It is, think of a dam which has a tiny little hole, and we try to use any space we can to widen it until there is the flood of our love flowing over all of you and each one, which brings tremendous transformation. Now, you have heard on your earth plane so many speak of their experience with Jesus and the Holy Spirit. And after they have had that experience, they were able to go from the darkest of places to the highest of places in their life. They were able to shed all of it and start completely new. This is real experiences. This is not a delusion or made up. But unfortunately, your religions have forced too much hell and damnation, or the fear of hell and damnation on you, and have used religion to control your power, that you don't want to hear about these things if you are not directly involved with it, because it just seems so mm, religious. Again, she is speaking and telling us something that is of a religious nature. Well, you know, the word religion simply means to rebind, to reconnect. It was never meant to become the over burgeoning institution that it has become. It has never meant to, was never meant to propagate so much fear. It was never meant to dampen your power, because if you are your full selves in God, then this is a relief for us. We do not want to hold that back, because the more of you that are fully who you are and fully healed, then you are free and we are free to move on as well and to do greater things in other galaxies and other places. But we focus our attention on you and your healing because we love you and it is your destiny. And so it is our work to help you find that destiny. This is my message for this moment.
Okay, I don't have any questions at this time, so I'm going to open it up to ask anyone who has any questions. Yep, we do have a question now from Kathy. Kathy,
Very
go
well.
ahead.
Thank you.
Hello, Mother Mary.
Hello.
Thank you.
And much love
Thank you
to
for talking with us today.
Of course.
If there is a tool that you could recommend besides meditation, which everybody pretty much knows is the best tool to help with ascension, is there a tool that you could recommend for everyone to use that would help everyone raise their vibration and get closer to ascension?
Thank you for that question. There are many tools, and one that I have mentioned is prayer. Prayer is a type of meditation, but it is often, if you speak it out loud, it is easier to concentrate. It is easier to focus your thoughts. You don't even have to call it prayer if that has too of a heavy connotation for you or others from a past experiences with these concepts. But you can either make a list of things you want to talk about or pray about, and you speak them out loud, have some nice music on, and you can, when you really begin to really pray deeply, you will feel God's love so deeply in your heart. And this will raise your desire to serve others. It is difficult to want to serve others when you yourself are suffering emotionally with depression or sadness or a feeling that nobody sees you and nobody cares. And so it is difficult then to reach out and to serve, although serving, my dear, is the answer. Serving is one of the greatest tools that can be used to raise your vibration. So, in other words, the meditation or the prayer or the listening to sounds which inspire you, whether this be music that brings a nostalgia to you and raises your heart feeling, whether it is classical music, which some of it is so powerful that it inspires great images of service to mankind. There is the what you call your sound healing, your toning, your binaural beats. There are many ways. That is also a good way to raise your vibration through music and sound. That is one. Meditation is another, of course, as you've mentioned. It is difficult for many to sit quietly and to listen to their inner voice. Therefore, you can combine the music with your meditation or speaking out loud, or actually, so many, just a moment, as I'm speaking of music, some rap music is pulsating. So many have also used journaling to writing because when you write, you allow your imagination to flow. So if you begin to write, Dear Mother Mary, or Dear anyone you wish to write, Dear my higher self, Dear my fourth dimensional self, or whichever way you wish to address your journaling, and you begin to write about what your day was like and who affected you in which ways, etc., etc. You begin to get answers while you're writing. And I'm sure you've all felt this and seen this in your own journaling. So, yes, journaling is an excellent tool to raise your awareness of your own actions, your own responsibility in your life experience, and in your conflicts with others. Journaling and writing these things down is a great way. And prayer directed to Archangel Michael, directed to me, to Jesus, to God, to whoever you wish to direct it to, and speak. And while you are speaking and talking out loud, you are also receiving impulses. And being with others who you feel comfortable with, and even if for a short while, share your own mindset of spiritual growth. This is harder to do because many light workers, they are loners because of their ultra sensitivity. And so it is then difficult for other light workers to reach out and cluster like a group of lanterns together to brighten their own environment and to brighten the darkness around them. But that is okay. You still brighten wherever you are, even if you are alone. You are always a light. Now, here's something encouraging I would like to tell you, that even as depressed or down as you might feel, know that because of your connection with us, that though you might feel you are in a cave, way below the earth. Oh no, your cave is high on a mountain, and you just are entering that cave to go through a certain period of growth or certain dark night of the soul, or certain periods of self doubt or whatever you are going through. But because of your connection with us, you are so much higher in that cave than you believe yourselves to be. Now, Kathy, have I answered your question to some extent?
Yes, you've answered it very well. Thank you. I appreciate all of those tools that you've mentioned. But I think that'll help a lot of people. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the
Blessings.
question. Yes, blessings to you.
Next, we have a question from Alan.
Hello, Alan.
Hello. I've just wanted to ask, whenever I connect with some, or the energy of some entity or something, when I hear channeling and I feel into that, I always get this feeling of overwhelm. And I don't know if that's humility, extreme humility. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's like I know that I should not feel unworthy, but I can't help feeling less than. I'm just wondering how to get past that initial overwhelm.
That is an excellent question, because all of your religions have taught you, except for a few of them, that you are not worthy, that you must pray to receive a drop of grace and mercy from the Almighty God, because you are so unworthy of it, and therefore you must praise and be overly grateful for it. This is a conditioning that is not easy to overcome, and your question is also a wonderful question, as the one before, and a very important one. Give me a moment, please. I would like to begin by saying that first, it is important when you are making your connection through channeling or meditation that you remember to ground yourself deeply into the earth and receive this very, very safe, very, very stabilizing, very nurturing, very self supporting energy from your Mother Earth. And even though you all understand the concept of grounding, and you probably have all used different methods, it is easy to forget that this is the foundation of which your roots receive the energy to grow. So, understanding your importance, your identity as this amazingly beautiful being, each so unique and individually beautiful, this will help you to understand that there is nothing unworthy about you. It is simply conditionings that you have been taught that make you unworthy or feel unworthy. Excuse me. Nothing can make you unworthy. It can try and make you feel unworthy. The other thing is your solar plexus chakra is the seat of your sense of self-worth and identity. This emits the color yellow. This solar plexus chakra also is helping you in your physical body with digestion of your food, but also with your spiritual digestion of what you are receiving, being able to digest and to move it in and to move it out, to move it in and to move it out so nothing gets stuck. Now, as far as increasing your sense of worthiness in front of God or Jesus or your Gurkfiknir community extraterrestrials that you channel with, or your fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh dimensional, they have all been where you are at some point, so they understand. So they are looking at you not as unworthy, but as somebody who might be in elementary school. And they are simply loving you and educating you and being patient with you. They know that you are also as much of God's creation as they are. So it is a matter of seeing you in that way. If you can understand that, this is how they might see you, but not in an unworthy fashion, just in a fashion of growth and education. And if you were not worth it, if you were not worthy of it, they would not even invest in partaking in your growth and education. Who would invest in your advancement if you were not worthy of it? True? So
Yes,
keep that
yes.
in mind, dear Alan, as well, and strengthen your solar plexus chakra with tiger eye stone. Will emits the color yellow. You can wear one in your pocket or around your neck and direct it consciously down to your navel area and strengthen it. So this will help you also to have more confidence in your own worthiness and your own tools that you came into the earth to manifest. But remember this, remember what I have just said. Who would invest if you were not worthy? You are each co creators. And co creating means that at some point you will be God. You will be creating your own galaxies. Think of this. Consider this. You are growing into this. I hope that gives you some sense of pulling back your shoulders. Of course, humility is very important in order to be open to learning. But humility is not saying how unworthy I am. This is the opposite of humility. This is the ultimate arrogance to always feel unworthy. In all reality, it is arrogance because you are saying that I am better than God because I do not believe that God created me. I do not believe that I am a co creator. I do not believe that I am his son or his daughter or their son or their daughters. You are making it very difficult to be a son or daughter of God when you are so sure of how unworthy you are. And in that position, you are unable to open up to learn because you are so sure that you are not worthy of it that you do not open yourself up to it. Can you understand what I mean, Alan?
Yes. Like, yes.
Hmm. Have I answered
I'm
your question?
trying. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, well, you know, the amount of years that has been spent conditioning you, it is going to take a little time for you to recondition yourself once again to feel your worthiness. It is simply conditioning. You are not who you think you are in this moment. You are not. You are a co creator with God. You are unconditional love. You are power to manifest your unique individual stamp of creativity, of your manifestation of what is within you to manifest out into the world around you. You are God. You are God. And I know this sounds like a blasphemous thing to say. And people will say this cannot be Mother Mary. She is supposed to be not speaking in such blasphemous ways. But my dear children, this is not blasphemy. I am simply telling you who you really are. And this whole idea of being so sinful and unworthy. Oh, this is such a sad veil for us to have to break through with you. We have to work on this all the time because we are supplicated all the time in a spirit of unworthiness. Please have mercy. Please forgive. Well, mercy is a real thing. Mercy is a real thing. And God and Jesus and myself and so many others have a great capacity of compassion and mercy, knowing that you have been misused and abused, and therefore you yourself abuse and misuse. We see this, and so we do have compassion and love for you. I was saying before, if you were God and observing all of this, would you have the capacity in your current moment to be able to continue to serve and to love and to reach out to and to educate and to want to embrace as your children? How difficult it is for you when somebody in your near environment is, you are angry with them or they are angry with you, or you see their behavior being so horrible. These are not people you want to serve, but this is God's heart. This is God's heart to want to love and serve and reach in a deeper level. Now, sometimes this involves tough love, a little bit of shaking up to wake up. Sometimes this is also part of it. It is not always this very gentle, but it is all from the intention of waking up and reaching deeply and letting your true spirit, your true power break out of you, and then to be fully human, and then to use that power in your human life to love and to serve and to be a true example of your God self on this earth. Do you see?
Yes.
So it is simply a matter of reconditioning that which has been conditioned. And we know that you are, well, you say you are trying. Try to know, my child, that this is true. Write it down. Use the color yellow to enhance your sense of your solar plexus chakra, to increase your worthiness. Know that you are co-creators with God. Know that nobody would invest in this earth and in her, raising her up and in her ascension, if you did not have a very, very important place in this galactic universe, in this galaxy, in this universe. The rest is up to you to focus, on that feeling, to focus on that knowing, and to recondition that old conditioning. Very well.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to hand over to Dawn, who has a couple of questions from the YouTube group.
Very
Dawn?
well.
Hello, Mother Mary. Blessings.
Blessings.
I have two questions. This first one is from M.M. Harad, and his question is, or their question is, can Mother Mary help with some prayers that I can use daily? I too do appreciate it. Thank you.
Just a moment, please. Thank you for the question. There are many versions of many prayers to raise our consciousness. I cannot help but think of the Lord's Prayer. You do realize that? Because it is very simple, but also very telling, although probably adjusted in some ways. Dear God, dear Mother, dear Father, I come and ask to open up my heart. Help me to open up my heart to receive the energy of your love and your wisdom, which is within me, and your wisdom within coming, meeting my wisdom, is awakening my own to come out. And together we share this wisdom out into the world. I invite you to please open my heart. I come to you in full gratitude for all the abundance that I already experience. No matter what my external environment seems to be, just knowing that I can connect with you, that I can speak and share my heart and feel your love and your presence is an incredible experience of abundance. Help me to raise up my own chalice high and to hold it high above to you, and to know that what I think I can receive from you and what I can actually and do receive from you is so much larger than I have ever realized before. Let this elixir of golden light and love run through, down through into my heart and through my entire body, enlivening the God self that is within me. Guide my life when I wake in the morning, when I am during my day on this earth. Show me, how can I be of service to you? How can I be of service to those around me? How can I be of service to myself that I am able to be of service to those around me? Because in taking care of myself, I am able to take care of others. Help me, dear God, dear Jesus, dear angels, dear higher beings who are guiding this earth. Please allow me to know who I truly am and why I came on this earth, and to accept it and to be of service to you and to others, and to be filled with joy and love no matter what my external circumstances may be, because this is the true elixir of life. It is the true water of life that you have promised to give to us. I open myself and I ask. It is the one condition that you have asked of me, is that I ask and it will be given. I ask all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you.
I hope this has been of some assistance.
Okay, that's wonderful. And my next question is from Heather Riney. Her question is, many people around me, myself included, experienced very intense energy this past week with vivid dreams. Can you elaborate on these energies? Thank you kindly. Blessings.
There will continuously be, since from what I have heard, I am not that involved in these types of knowledge, to be honest with you, but I have some knowledge that the veil, which was blocking the ascension energies from coming to you, has been lifted since 2012. And there are waves of different aspects of energy that are coming in order to help to wake up your knowledge of your true self, as we have been discussing today. And since these energies, they land on many and each responds to them differently. Sometimes you need a mask, so metaphorically, to be able to take these energies in such a way that you can assimilate them better. They can be very powerful. This is why I suggest continuous grounding and consciously use these energies consciously instead of feeling like a victim of these energies just being inundating the earth at this time. Ask, be in control. You are in control of these energies, even though they are coming at you. You can say stop and say, I allow the amount of energy into my being that I can assimilate, that I can use for my growth. And I thank you for that. And let the rest just go past you, if this makes sense to you. There will be many. There are energies coming in to, you might want to say, it is a type of terraforming, which means an adjustment of your atmosphere and the type of nourishment and interaction your earth has with itself to grow, and the chemicals and the minerals and the necessities to breathe and to interact and for your vegetables and fruits to grow. There is a type of terraforming to prepare your planet to enter into another dimension. This is part of it. But along with, as I have mentioned in the beginning, there is also an attempt to, there's a kind of a group ascension where many will feel they are already in it. And those who have raised their vibration to the point to be able to flow with that. And for those who have not yet, there is no competition and no contest to get there faster than the next person, or compare yourself and feel less than because others are able to do this more than faster than others, because each of you are individual units of a combination of your soul lives, of your ancestry, which many of you forget that you also have ancestry to deal with and all the things that they have done, and your individual personal experiences. And so each of your ascension process is going to be at a different pace. As you know, this is not new for you. Nonetheless, I remind you again of it. It is important not to compare and just to allow these energies to come in and say, okay, if I am not yet ready, that's fine. If I cannot, if I'm feeling ascension symptoms, it simply means that I am still adjusting to these types of energies. And as I raise my vibration through connecting to God, through connecting to your higher self, which is connected to God, through prayer, through service to others, you will continuously raise your vibration. In other words, information is not enough to become unconditionally loving as you are in your innate being, because you are God. It is not enough. There needs to be acts of service to others. When you are continuously raising your vibration, you will notice these energies in a different way. At first, they might make you feel nauseous and dizzy and very heavy, but then as you take control of them and say, allow me to only use that which I can assimilate right now, and as you raise your vibration, you will have less and less of these heavy symptoms. I hope this has answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next, we have a question from Steve Martin.
Hello, Steve Martin.
Hello, Mary. It's good to see you.
And you.
So it's been brought to my attention that when I put energy into people through my palms, you're part of the team that helps with that endeavor. Thank you for your assistance. I wanted to know what specific situations when I'm dealing with people should I specifically ask for you?
Can you please put that in a different way? I have not quite understood it. Forgive me.
No, okay. So I do Reiki healing or Chi, whatever you want to call it, and and energy comes down through my crown and comes out my palms. And I put it into people that I know. And it's been brought to my attention that I have a whole team of people who assist me with that. And you were named as one of those individuals. And I wanted to know with what I deal with, I usually am offsetting stress or depression or anxiety or aches and pains, different things. I wanted to know when I should specifically ask for your assistance, when I should focus on your being when I'm doing that.
Thank you. Thank you. The energies that come in through you are very compassionate energies. They have their own consciousness. I would suggest that even though your clients may say to you, I feel very stressful or I am feeling depressed, to not give a name to that specific energy that is going into them. I don't know if I have said that correctly. In other words, let the power of our love flow without a name, without a specific end, but let it flow. Let thinking about where you are directing the energy, let that go. The more powerfully you feel us in your heart, the more powerfully that energy will flow. We are there for all types of situations. We want each individual to feel loved, to feel our love, to feel your love, Steve, for them, just by the nature of you being there and investing your time and this collective energy into their being. Hopefully, this will transmit the feeling that you, although you are a channel, but nonetheless, if they were not worthy of being free and healed, you would not be there for them. It is the same concept as I was speaking before, that if your world, if you humans were not worthy, we would not be coming to assist you to be the fullness of what you can be. Does this answer your question in some small way?
Yes, it's like my healing has an electronic automatic setting, is what you're saying.
That can be one way to say it, yes. Let it flow. Connect. Yes. While you are, do not focus so much on the person in front of you. Focus on me. Focus on God, on Jesus, on the extraterrestrials around you who are also contributing to the life energy force coming through you to them. Focus on the love you feel in your heart from us and this energy as you are being a channel. We are edifying you while you are working to edify someone else.
Very good. That's very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I would also like to make a recommendation, if I might.
Okay.
There is a energy source. It is a galactic extraterrestrial energy source. It is available to all of you on Earth. It is called White Time Universal Energy. And there are practitioners who initiate or open up your ET channels as your Reiki initiations, open up your ability to funnel in all of life energy from deep within the earth, and all that is life and part of God down through you and out to your client, as you may call them, or your friend, or your family member. So white time universal energy is a galactic energy, life force energy that comes down, and it is guided, it is controlled by you. When it comes in, you have a control so that it is not just a constant, uncontrolled force. And I would recommend for you to, as you say, to check it out.
Right. White time universal energy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, when you are doing your Reiki, you can combine the white time universal energy with the Reiki. It is like the vertical and the horizontal. You are bringing them both together, which you are doing anyway, of course, but this is a more focused vertical energy that you will learn about. It is very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you, Mother Mary.
You're very welcome. Much love to you.
Much love to you.
Next, we're going to go back to Dawn, who has a couple more questions from the YouTube group.
Very well. Thank you.
Okay, I have, thank you very much. I have one question here from Andrea Santo. Her question is, how to feel awake and inspired about making art?
Can you speak just a little bit louder, please?
Yes. She asks, how can I feel awake and inspired about making art?
What kind of art? I'm wondering. There are so many forms of art. There are those who are wonderful public speakers. There are those who make, in any kind of social gathering, people feel at ease. This is an absolute art. There are those who draw, who make music, who write music in their head, who are a wonderful go-between between the art coming in from the spiritual realms down out into your earthen realm. How to be inspired? Well, I would suggest first engaging with the kind of art that inspires you. In other words, before you feel inspired to practice your art, do you know, has your particular artistic vein been told to you? Have you discovered it for yourself? In other words, many of your children have art put upon them through music classes and all kinds of other ways to put upon a child's art or their talent. And many have a bent for a particular type of art that nobody has told them or talked with them about, and they may be a little bit shy to venture forth with it. So my suggestion is to first find and spend time around art that inspires you, and then this, whatever is within you that resonates with what you are being inspired about being involved with, will start to come out of you, and you will start to be inspired to practice it yourself. Whether this is going to concerts, whether this is going to museums, whether this is reading books because you wish to be a novelist, whether this is simply drawing or speaking. There are many different types of art, as I have mentioned. This was one suggestion. And normally, art is so powerful in and of itself that it inspires even in and of itself. So there are some blocks there to you not being inspired by the art which is within you. This is why I suggest to first meet it externally as much as you can. And I'm sure that you already do that, but do that with intention. and do it in different ways that you have tried to do it before. Venture out with it. In other words, if you do not stretch out of your positions that you are so used to being confined in, then it is difficult to feel free to venture out in new directions. I hope that has helped.
Yes, thank you. Okay, and next we have a question again from Luba Harad. And her question is, I would like to also ask how we can help those affected with this coronavirus. What kind of energy to send this virus so it will be gone for good? Thank you.
Just a moment, please. The reality behind the coronavirus is very, very complex. And I don't think you need to know all of the complexities and layers and intentions of it, of why a certain amount of it was released now. At this time, there are many, both spiritual and political, there are many, as I say, complexities to it. I will in a physical body which has a very balanced alkaline versus acidic levels. If you want to protect against a virus which seems to be going around now a little bit more than ever, as such you have heard, then take steps to alkaline your physical body. This would be one way to do this on a very practical level. There are many ways to make your body alkaline, and some of them you will not want to hear because it involves the cessation of eating white sugary foods, white pastry goods, white pastas, though some are good, some of them are healthier than others. In other words, all processed foods that you are used to eating, if you can attempt to cease from taking them into your body, you will greatly assist the alkaline levels of your body, which will make it so much more difficult for viruses to take hold of. This is the most important point. Now, getting rid of it forever, this is once you let something out of the bag, it is a very long process to deal with. But you yourself can create a bubble around yourself of very sure energy that you are healthy, that this virus is sent with an intention that is not meant for you. But most importantly, please take care of your physical body. Take care of your stress levels. Practice whatever mechanisms you have to decrease stress, because stress is also making your human body very acidic. Stress equals acid. And a lot of your stress is self imposed. A lot of your stress is trying to fulfill the expectations of everybody and everything around you. You are so busy trying to be worthy of us when you do not need to be worthy of us. You are stressed trying to be the good son, the good daughter, be the best friend, be looking good so nobody knows how depressed you truly feel. All of these are stress factors. There are real stress factors concerning money, this is also real. And this is where, if you as communities were set up to support each other, you would never be lacking in what you need for food or shelter. These are your most basic needs. And yet, so many are feeling so stressed because they lack these resources. You lack these resources because you are living in isolated units in many, many cases, and you are not operating as a community. Do you know that the communities around you in your galactic neighborhoods do not know what it is to live together and live in such isolated pockets, that they are not there to know how they all feel and to be there for each other in many cases? Yet this is how it is for you people on earth in many ways. Not all, but many. There is an isolation which keeps you in a very, very stressed environment, because you may feel there is no one there to help you. And when you run out of money, you will be on the street. All of your homelessness would be so unnecessary if you would all become good Samaritans, as the Good Samaritan story in the New Testament. Those who do not need a special title, a special reason, a special God to reach out and help you each other and help your neighbor. If this mentality was prevalent in your communities, homelessness, the stress of lack of finances, the stress of lack of food would not be present. For now, because I do know that you cannot change this reality from one day to another, although you could change the reality from one day to another, but I know that in reality, I am playing here a little bit with words, this is not going to happen so quickly. For now, look up different barter systems. There are several barter systems in your cities. Look that up if you are not able to reach out and create real neighborhoods. Check this out. So, alkalize your body by reducing stress. Practice breathing. If you can do nothing else, breathe. Because when you breathe and you imagine this life-giving force from God flowing into your being, this is already helping you to reduce your stress to some degree. So just breathe, breathe. Reduce your intake of processed foods. Look up alkalining supplements, because there are. These are things you can do for yourselves to not be affected by such things as the coronavirus. I hope this has helped in
Yes.
some way.
Yes, it has. Thank you. This is a beautiful explanation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Next question we have is from Kathy.
Hello, Kathy.
Hello, Mother Mary again. I have a question that kind of plays off of what Steve was talking about with his healing. Can you recommend what crystals that would help with the energy that we have going on right now to help any Reiki healers out there? And also expanding on that, can you help, for those that don't know a lot about crystals, can you guide us on how best to use them as tools in healing for Reiki practitioners, or even people who are not Reiki practitioners?
I am not an expert in crystals, my dear. I am sorry, but I can tell you, you are familiar with the selenite crystal. These are very self-cleaning, and they are very cleaning for the environment or whatever is on them. You can find a way to put one in each corner of your abode. This will help create a type of energy environment that is cleaner, so that when you are channeling your Reiki energy down through, it is lighter and easier for you to do, easier to connect, easier to flow. This I can tell you. I hope that has been helpful. And
Yes.
now I do know here that this channel, and I don't know if you can see this because my eyes are closed. Is it being shown on the camera?
Yes, it is.
Very well. This is kyanite. This is very powerful. It doesn't always come in this form, but she uses it to cut cords after she has done healing or channeling. This is a reminder, dear ones, after you have done your healing or your channeling, it is important to cut the energetic cords that you have just engaged in this healing. Otherwise, you may carry some of their energy with you afterwards.
Mhm.
It's just a reminder in case you forget. This is how she uses this one. But this also is a angelic, very powerful stone, which will balance your chakras. It will balance the chakras of those who hold it. And it will direct very powerful energy down through it, down into your heart, into your being. And as I say, if you get it in this form, although you don't need it, actually, in reality, you can say, Kathy, the word kyanite. All you need truly is an image of it in your mind. You do not even need to have the actual stone in your hand, although for your permission slip, as I have often heard it called from those who follow another one of your channels. It is a permission slip, and it'll help you feel, of course, more substantially connected. But in reality, you can hold a image of a kyanite stone in front of you and ask, please cleanse my chakras, cleanse the chakras of those in front of me, because everything is instantaneous. Your thoughts are instantaneous. And this is another thing I forgot to mention about keeping your vibration high. It all begins with your thoughts. Your thoughts create form. Your thoughts create form. Now, sometimes you feel like your thoughts are coming from your emotion and not from your thoughts, but it begins with the thought, and it is so instantaneous that it shoots down and triggers the corresponding emotion. Like you have a thought, you hear a name, you remember somebody who betrayed you, and you instantly trigger the emotion connected to that.
Mhm.
Well, your thoughts, and you have all heard this, I know, but please allow me to remind you to be very conscious of your thoughts, of your thinking. There is a method. It is called redirection. It is used in psychology to get somebody who is very fearful off of the thought that is making them fearful. It is redirection. You use this with your children when they are angry. You say, well, would you like this instead? And you redirect their emotions. This you must practice with your own thinking. Redirection. This does not mean to deny the healing you need in your journey from the results of your journey. This you go to practitioners for, or you pray for, but I am talking about your daily thinking that comes in about others, about yourself. It's very important to, while you are working on getting rid of what was there inside beforehand, while you're doing that, you need the power and the energy to continue that work, and keeping your thoughts in a light. Let them be thoughts of light. Let your words be words of life that come from your mouth, because as Jesus said, what comes from through the mouth comes from the heart. So guard the purity of your heart. Guard the purity of your heart. Guard the purity of your thoughts. Be careful that the words coming from your mouth are words of light and life to yourself and to those around you. These are all contributing ways for raising your vibration, so that when these very intense energies come in from higher realms and four-dimensional terraforming of your earth and your energies, you are able to assimilate it and feel the wonderful joy from it. And when God and Jesus and myself and all of those working to love you and to have you feel their love and energy, you will feel it. It is all higher dimensional energies. Now, when you pass from this earth, it is important for you to be acclimated to higher energies, because the higher energies you're acclimated to, this is where you will be able to gravitate towards. This is important. This is why we are spending so much time and so many talking to you about all of these things, so that your journey can go always forward and always onwards and always higher to your ultimate destiny. Have I answered your question, my dear?
Yes, yes, you did. Thank you. That was very good information for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Namaste.
You're welcome. Much appreciated to be able to share. I don't always get the chance.
Next, we have a couple more questions from Dawn from YouTube.
Very well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can you speak louder, please, my dear?
Sorry. Okay, this question is from Crossover 93. A quick question. How can I receive or learn to physically heal? I have sometimes sleep apnea, keratoconus, I don't know what that is, and asthma that I need healing with, and if possible, to reverse the effects. Thank you.
Very well. We try not to give medical advice because it gets us in trouble, those who channel, but I can reiterate what I have mentioned before. Part of these ailments, part of them, are coming from a body whose environment is too acidic and therefore vulnerable for the immune system to be attacked. So, do not know your diet. I do not know if you are eating as purely as you can, but if you are not, then I would ask that you make steps towards doing this is number one. I do know from other people and other channeling moments that black seed oil is going to improve your lungs environment greatly, as well as, try to remember, basil supplement is going to improve your lung environment. These are two things you can take to improve the internal structure, and also to please make your body more alkaline. There is a way to check the alkaline acidic levels of your body, and I would suggest going and getting those things to do that and to monitor and to practice until your body is more alkaline. Now, too alkaline is also a problem. So I am not suggesting that you only and forever eat alkaline foods and supplements, but if you are suffering with disease and illnesses, this will help. And also, there are funguses within the human body which cause a great amount of illnesses. They are not always identified as such, but they do. And there is a way to kill them naturally because you need to have them cleansed from your human bodies in order for your organs to be able to rebuild themselves back up. And it is and I know because this vessel has done it as well, is to only eat protein and vegetables for at least 3 weeks. Only. No carbohydrates or sugars for just 3 weeks, not more necessarily. And you do have natural forms of carbohydrates in any case in your vegetables. It is not as if you are doing totally without. You are simply doing without the simple carbohydrates, which the fungus feed on. They feed on the simple carbohydrates and they feed on sugar. If you eliminate simple carbohydrates, which are your white floured products, and you only eat vegetables and protein for 3 weeks, it is enough to flush them out. And you need to drink enough fluids, whether it be whatever forms, to flush them out. And I know this is hard to do, but if you want to improve your health, I am letting you know that these are ways to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Okay, one more question. This is from Sean Anderson. And his question is there any power in the priesthood in the Mormon religion? Thank you.
Just a moment. I'm not quite sure what you mean by power in the priesthood, except if you mean if God's revelations are coming through the one who is the ultimate, I do not remember now the name, but the ultimate leader who gives revelations down through the people. Without causing too much trouble, I will simply say this, that in every religion that has sprung up on your earth, there is a piece of the puzzle which represents the whole, which is good, and there is a piece of control which is less good. Let me put it this way. Now, when you are judging your sense of worth by looking up to a priesthood or any kind of leadership and feeling like if I follow them, I will be good. If I do not follow them, I will be unworthy. Here you are already giving away your own power. Now, if the priesthood, and any group of people, by the way, who pray, do have power. Power in itself is neutral. It is how that power is intended which makes all the difference. Therefore, you have your white magic and you have your black magic. Each has a different intention, each have power. So when you have a hierarchy like you do within the Mormon religion, and there is a lot of prayer, a lot of that prayer has good power because they do pray for the nation. They do pray for their political leaders. They do pray that their children grow up with good moral values. This is all good. On the other side, it is a lot of control, because then there is this feeling that if I do not keep this way, that I am unworthy. So it's a two-edged sword, because there is conditioning, which is hindering, but there are also many good aspects to it as well. There is nothing inherently purely evil or purely good in that sense, in this context of what you are asking. I hope this has helped.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Let me talk about consciousness if no one else has a question at the moment, if that is fine.
We have about 10 more minutes left before we're at the top of the hour. So you can go ahead and do that. And we would also like to ask you for a closing blessing.
Very well.
So feel free to talk about consciousness.
Yes, I do feel free. I am taking a moment again. I am trying to find an analogy for you, and I believe I have come up with one. Imagine a piece of paper, and you have covered this piece of paper with a thin sheet of water, and now you have taken a artist, oh, what is it called? A brush, an artist's brush, and you dip it into a color, and you drop this color in the center of that paper. You will see the color from that center point spreading out and covering as far as it can spread within the wetness of that paper. This is some analogy I wanted to give you to think about. Consciousness is simply another way to say your awareness of who you are and what you can be and do. If you, let me give you another analogy. There are those who wish to lose weight, for example, and they are told to put a picture on their wall or on their refrigerator of who they would like to look like, the type of body that they would like to either get back to by using an old photograph or another image of someone they would like to look like. And this would be in their conscious awareness of where they want to go and would give them motivation to work towards that goal. It is the same with your consciousness. Create an image for yourself that is so much bigger than who you think you are at the moment. In your constricted identity, if you feel that way, I'm not suggesting that you all are feeling this way, but if you do, put up a picture on your wall, on your refrigerator, of the kind of light being. Make an image of a light being, or find someone to make one for you of what your higher self looks like. Any kind of light form, and where the heart is the center of your life, where your mind and your heart work so intrinsically together that there is simply compassion because you are so connected to God and your higher self and your true identity. Keep this. You can write around this image, you can do whatever you wish. Create this image and know that your consciousness, your understand, your the goal, the ultimate reaching of it is going to spread out and is going to reach it. Spread your thinking out in the most life-giving, positive way that you can. and do it now. And find a way to perform acts of services during your week. You will find that you feel better. And the acts of services do not need to have your name attached to it, do not necessarily need recognition. But if that's what you need in the beginning, that is also fine. There is no judgment here. It is simply find a way to practice acts of services. And now I think I will end here because there is a musical symphony going on outside of this room. Very well. I will close with a blessing. May you feel the depth of your heart. May you feel the depth of your heart as it is connected to the depth of the heart of God, to the depth of the heart of your true identity, your true ownership, your true partnership, your true childhoodship with all that is, and all that is all love that is incredibly immeasurable. May you experience that in your heart, because there is the beginning of inspiration for all things that we have talked about today. Reach out to each other if you need to. It is important. And not only if you need to, but reach out, because maybe someone who you did not know needs you, needs you. That is my blessing for this week. May God protect you and guide you on your journey. May you be blessed with the abundance that goes beyond all material things. And may you also be blessed with material abundance as well, that you can function in freedom. And may you support each other to move in material abundance as well. Thank you. I pray all these things in God's name and the name of my Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. Give me a moment. Okay, thank you.
That was lovely. Wow.
Thank you. I feel very happy.
Beautiful, Saphira. You did amazing considering all the background noise that you were dealing with. And that was incredible that you were able to block that out and do so wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
And I
much.
loved your introduction before too. Wow, so informative.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm so
Thank-
happy. That makes me so happy. I'm happy to
Share
yeah,
yours.
you know, yeah, happy to hear you, to hear your voice, to hear your voices back. I'm very happy. Thank you.
Do we have anyone in the room who wants to volunteer to do a blessing? I know Don has volunteered.
Oh, wonderful.
How Reinhardt, you're volunteering. How about Deb?
I'll do one.
You'll do one too? Okay, great.
Thank you.
So
Great.
we'll start with Don, and then Reinhardt, and then Deb. Anyone else? Okay, Don, you're up.
Thank you. Beautiful show today. Thank you very much, Saphira.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Toro makatanish nanare kotorosh nanan haishike. Tana maula nei hani hoshatana. Wasat anale kotorosh nanakishi. Aramaruko chanakai tara.
Thank you. And Reinhard?
Yeah, thank you, Sephira, for your channeling and
Thank you. Thank you
the
for your support.
advice we got. Laika namatai talaka matiata naka. Tululuko aita lika lika matatiaka naka. Lalalaka ita taika nanaka tio koloko. Halaka itu. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Good.
Reinhard. How about you? How about you, Deb? You ready?
I'm ready. Haika te sino aha te irakoa. Ina i to tu sia na nei tua. I kaia tua mama tua ti. Hisaya ko na eta. I taia ko ata. I saia ko ai inata. Ia ko oai ia. Thank you. Thank you, Saphira.
Thank you. That's beautiful. I just like to say, Ian, if I might, because we didn't really talk about this before. If you go to hucolo.org, Hucolo, I think it's in the links anyway, you can look under sessions and find my profile if you would like to have private healings or sessions. I call them counseling sessions with the with the ETs because that's what they do a lot of. Feel free, and thank you for. I'm so happy. I'm happy to have been able to do this today. Thank you for your support and just for being there with me through this. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
And again, that's Hucolo or humancolony.org. And there is a list of channelers or people who provide services such as Saphira. And she's on there and you can contact her directly with her email that is listed online. So thank you, everybody. Next week, Jim is going to be back. Actually, I take that back. Next week, we're going to have Tyler Ellison. So that'll be great.
Okay.
So on the 27th, Tyler Ellison will be here. And I'd like to thank all of our YouTube watchers as well. Thank you very much for your good questions.
Yes, very good questions. Amazing.
And that's going to end our show for now. So we'll see you all next week.
Thank you.